butter just like a sponge. Just contagious, I keep me a gun. I'm focused on making that M in a bun. Baby, order 20,001. Walking in by, not asking how much. I'm right on the bottom, you need to catch up. Intensity dropping, I need me a dub. Sold out, wait, cash every day. I got you a mace, I let up blue race. Cheat on my pet, the condo a king. All right, and I think with that, in 3, 2, 1, we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Hip Politics Digital Hip Hop Happy Hour. What's up to people who are streaming it, to all the people who join the conversation via Zoom. You have your host here, Mr. Cameron Calvin Trimble, the host of the Hip Politics Podcast, political insider, communication strategist, and bringer together of people. So we've got another episode, again, like out of frustration and isolation has come some creation and fraternization. So we got a good group of people together today. A lot of what our platform and our main demo and a lot of people we serve are of the millennial and the Generation Z generation. And that's what a $2 trillion stimulus coming out. That's really mainly borrowed on future generations and taxes and things that they'll have to pay for and have to bear the brunt of what it costs to dig this country out of this problem. A lot of conversations that just are not happening for the people, the 30 and under crowd, or more so the people who are serving in the millennial generation and people who are serving in the Gen Z generation. And so I decided to get together an active group who really tapped into some of my interns and some of the other people on the Hip Politics staff who are Gen Z millennials. I'm also a millennial, but I'm an older millennial. But to tap into some of the top leaders and upcoming leaders. So they're going to be listed. If you're watching this YouTube, you'll see them listed in the credits, everybody. We're going to jump right into the conversation. Everybody's on. This is dope. I just wanted first, but kick off. I'm drinking brown tonight. So I just wanted to kick off with a cheers, a toast, and then, all right, so we're kicking off happy hour. So my first question to everyone, my first question to everybody is that are you taking all of this seriously? Like, because a lot of the news and the narrative is that the younger people aren't taking it seriously. They're showing that little isolated group of people who went to spring break and saying like, oh, people are still going to spring break. So I just want to know, like, do you think young people are taking this whole outbreak and locked in place thing seriously?
Can I start us off?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I don't know. I'm definitely taking it seriously. Like, I haven't left the crib in like a number of days. I'm not trying to get sick. And I live in New York City, which is the epicenter of the crisis right now in the United States. So I'm taking it more than seriously. I live with my grandma. So like I'm literally taking it the most seriously that it can be taken.
Yeah, I would say that, I'm living in DC here, and I think there are definitely a group of young folks who are practicing some of the guidelines, some of the social distancing, but not really, right? Like you'll go to a friend's house, or at first the CDC was saying keep in groups of like 10 or less. So, I'm trying to take it seriously. I have family that I, help take care of that are younger or older, and so understanding how you could be a carrier but not show any symptoms, and just being around other people can get them sick. Just trying to be mindful of that. But yeah, I'm trying to take it seriously. I can't say that I actually am, but I was just outside today and was out yesterday and the day before.
So you out here kicking it.
I like to, I'm from New York as well. I'm from Brooklyn. And I'd like to, echo to Tanisha. It's crazy, like we literally are getting 20 cases by the day, 20,000 cases by the day. And I think, right now it's really important that we are practicing like safety and just going out here with things that we need to keep ourselves safe. It's just so hard to get anything. Like anytime I do go out to try to get the things that I need, I've figured out ways to make like new like products, like, homemade, because it's just not sold. But it's like really hard, I think, just trying to get the Lysol wipes. Like you just can't even get that right now.
That point, Koya, you brought up a good point that I was thinking about to this overall question of because a lot of people in Gen Z millennials, like you haven't hit your like financial peak and like stride yet. So you haven't like, you're not making as ton, like everybody not making as much money or doesn't have the same kind of savings or like cushion and rainy day funds set up because you mean like they've just gotten into the workforce in the last 10 years or so forth. Or just, and if they have a family, it's new and they're still trying to get up. But like now, I feel like, because I know a lot of my older friends, like they can go and spend $500 and $1,000 worth of food and like stock up and don't really have to go out. But as other people who are younger and don't have the same kind of income or funds are living a little more check to check. Like, are any of y'all experiencing that? Like you have to go out because you don't have as much money to like
I think
log up.
it's by case, like
Yeah.
I'm very grateful that I got an amazing contract with Postmates before this happened. So I am blessed, but I mean, yeah, it isn't that easy just to go out and spend $500 on food. But I think if we really take into account what we spend on like brunches and like going out, taking a trip, like you're not spending that money anymore. So you can spend $500 on some food, and it's realistic. Like, huh?
I was thinking about, is anybody else feeling going through that? Like has been able to, has money?
I love it.
Yes.
I'm buying quality like mushrooms, mushrooms. Spend $8 on mushrooms. Like why? But I can't. Like I'm not gonna get it anywhere else. I'm gonna buy the type of lobster that I want. Like go get all the things that we possibly would go spend our money to go do and make it at home. It's great.
I know personally. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I know personally, I have some friends that are panicking and freaking out, especially a lot of my friends that work in the service industry that kind of do live, or the gig that are more involved in the gig economy that live kind of paycheck to paycheck. I am seeing how they are really, really stressed out, and they're really depending on really any supplemental income, whether that be the stimulus package that's coming out, or whether that be just increases with, trying to get unemployment. A lot of people are really panicking, and I feel very blessed to work for DC government and not kind of be in this same situation. But I am also under the age of 30, and this is going into my second recession that I'm possibly mentally preparing myself for. So one of the first things I did was call my boss and said, hey, how is the district looking? Are we going to have to lay off anyone? And she said, I think we're good. And so me having kind of the financial stability that I have, and then also seeing how some of my friends that don't have that stability, or that, like you said, with brunch, they don't always live below their means or at their means. And so some of them now are having increased struggles.
What about somebody from another part of the country? Like,
Yeah. Oh, so I know you're hitting up Joel, but just to say really quickly, so I live
in Memphis. I live in Memphis here.
Say that again.
I was saying, like, you're in Memphis. I want to know how, like, what Memphis is talking about.
Yeah, so I am also an older millennial, and I will say personally going through this experience. So yes, I also went through 2 recessions, but I was like a grown person entering into the workforce in the first recession of our generation, and I'm not trying to go through that again. I will say that having a government job is definitely just kind of the thing to be, even though that's not necessarily like the dream. Is my parents' dream, but it's kind of like all these whispers of baby boomers are kind of in my ear. I will say that in Memphis, our small businesses are getting hit hard. It's really scary where you have these young up and coming business owners and entrepreneurs where everything is closed. So I think about like Black owned art galleries, our hairstylists, barbers. It's really scary. So from a financial perspective, especially thinking about how poverty looks in the South in general, it's really taking a toll on our day-to-day down here.
Curious is like how everybody else around the country is like holding up, like money wise. Because DC, I feel like the DC and New York bubbles are not like bubbles in Michigan or bubbles in other states.
Yeah, I like to touch on Michigan. Michigan is in trouble right now. If you haven't heard, Dr. Fucci said that we are the next state that's probably going to end up like New York. We're planning
Part of
for
Michigan you from, or what part of Michigan you in?
I live in Redford. It's right next to Detroit, so it's in Wayne County. If you look at the numbers, it says Detroit and Wayne County, so it's right next, adjacent to Detroit, and it's getting real terrible here. New York, Dr. Fucci was saying that Detroit is going to be the next new hotspot, and we have like a lot of our hospitals are at capacity right now. We have closed down. I don't know if you all know the Cobo Hall, what is now called the TCF Center. It's one of our biggest venues downtown Detroit. They're going to start using that location for a place where patients that have coronavirus or are testing for coronavirus. It's getting pretty bad here. It's like we've had multiple deaths. A state rep just passed away yesterday. A lot of our police force are dying. A lot of our police force is in quarantine right now. It's really bad here.
Yeah, and I mean, just to piggyback on what Diaja was saying too, you know, in Michigan, I guess, you know, we were on track at first to become like the next Italy, almost, if we didn't really go ahead and put this, we have a shelter in place order now, our governor just put in place last Monday. But at first, you know, it's kind of, we were just encouraging people to go ahead and stay home. But for whatever reason, you know, people just, they were thinking it was cool to, you know, they thought everything was sweet and it was cool just still to be out and do whatever they was going to do. And that it wasn't serious, but people are actually beginning to realize that since this doesn't really show up immediately, that so many people had this already. So it's like after the shelter in place happened, the number of cases actually spiked. And so now we're seeing all these people that were affected previously are now showing symptoms, and it's just the whole state just kind of, we're at a place right now where we're struggling, but we're working with, you know, states like New York and other places, trying to connect with our governors to figure out what our best practices, what's the best thing to do. We're just really trying to, you know, not trying to be too aggressive, but aggressive enough to let people know, like, hey, this is serious, and the best thing we can do is make sure that we stay inside, stay to ourselves, to stop this spread. Because, you know, people say all the time, the flu kills a lot of people more than this, but this is just so contagious because it's a mutant strand and no one has, you know, a cure for it.
They don't know how to. Yeah, exactly. They don't know how to treat it. They
Yeah,
don't know how to treat it.
It's bad only because it just spreads. So it's so contagious. We just have no way to keep up with it, and that's the biggest thing. The only way we can stop it is to stop seeing people, essentially.
Which, like, with so much of our society built on social gathering, you start realizing it the moment they say everybody got to stay home. I'm curious because like as younger people, we're always told like we're gonna move around. We move around jobs a lot. Like a lot of us are in the gig economy. A lot of us, you know what I mean, like are in our first or second job, moving every year or 2 years and stuff like that. Like, do you think now that's gonna change with like something like this? It realizes the instability of so many industries. Like I was just reading how like 27 plus million people who are in what they call contact sensitive industry. So that's like food and beverage service, stylists, barbers, are gonna lose their jobs at least for the next 2 months. And but then just so many, so there's that, but then there's also people who are trying to get into the workforce or looking for their first job. A lot of people were about to graduate, going to either intern season or going to like new job season over the summer, where and like all that is like grounded to a halt. Like how are people who are either whether you're about to get a job or thinking about getting a new job or looking for a job, like how is that shaping this conversation? Everybody.
I can't say like I'm looking for one or I am actively seeking one, but like there's another position in the role that I'm in. And so like they're still trying to hire. I think companies are actually willing to hire at this time. especially with the new models that they have in place. I just think it's depending upon the company. Like the government jobs, I think are a bit harder to get into right now, but companies that actually have their systems up and running up online, I think they're still continuing that process, and there's an opportunity out there as long as you're actively looking. Like I know a few people that are interviewing right now.
Yeah,
Also,
on that also because my husband is in the process of looking for a new, well, he's in the process of a new job, getting a new job, and companies are really hiring. I know a lot of other people who are specifically in tech industries. I think it's really going to shape the type of jobs people go after, because right now companies are looking to really, beef up their technology departments, especially things dealing with like risk management, because companies are seeing a pivot where this might need to be a new norm for those who were previously like, we don't really work from home. Well, now you might have to. And now that you've done so, people are going to expect for you to have those types of work from home policies in place.
And I think Ashley mentioned a very important piece is just not only figuring out what we're going to do, is just like realizing that life's going to be so different after this, because the practices we're going to have to start utilizing now, even for working from home and working remotely, companies of course are about business. Just for example, speaking on this piece particularly, in order to make money, in order to cut costs, you're going to figure out the most the ways you can streamline your business. And so I'm just realizing that what we're doing right now, having these conference calls, working remotely, working on computers, minimizing level of contact, the amount of traffic. A lot of people this might become a reality for folk. And so we might talk about people going to start losing their jobs. Right now is just really the opportunity to figure out what's the next big idea. How can you be innovative to create some kind of problem that you can also solve, create a remedy to, so you can actually be okay once this all blows over.
And just to piggyback off of that, temporarily in Michigan right now, you're not allowed to do new hires. So we have already made that step to not be able to hire new people at any jobs.
I think you're seeing a lot of this play out, hiring difficulties and retention difficulties. I think you're seeing a lot of this play out. It really shows the difference between big business and small business in the US, because I think big business will recover. I think they will be able to come back. For example, Amazon is hiring right now. Walmart is hiring right now. There's a lot of different spaces that are hiring right now, but it's really those small businesses that really make up kind of the fabric of America. It's those businesses that are being lost and possibly may not ever recover. And a lot of those places are, because Amazon, of course, they have the infrastructure to streamline a lot of their processes and things, but you have a lot of these small mom and pop businesses that aren't really set up they're not geared toward the future of work. And that's really worked for the communities that they live in. And so now we have to figure out how to really rebuild that infrastructure of small business following this pandemic.
What something that when you start talking about the future and what it's going to look like, colleges and education has drastically had to change. Like now basically every college in America has been sent home. Everybody, like all of my interns, Sherry is my social media manager and works with Hip Politics. She's a Howard student. She's got to go home. All my other ones had to go home. Everybody's back home. Everybody in high school, grade school are going back home and either being forced to do online. Like I don't have kids, but all my friends with younger kids and so forth, a lot of schools are doing now online learning and like Zoom groups, chats, or giving the lesson plans to the parents. Like colleges have gone back, people have all gone back to school, but for a lot of people have gone back to school, but now like that's drastically changing, but they're still expecting you to pay the same amount of money. You know what I mean? Like I know we got Brittany on here. She's about to be the president of the Houston president. Me and her connect.
No. I'm not the Houston president. I'm the director of policy and projects for Houston.
I'm sorry. I messed that up.
No, it's okay.
That's Michelle. My bad.
Yeah, Rachel. She was supposed to be on the call. She just actually is. Yes, HU. She's now the president-elect. Her and Michael.
Is that what we?
I don't remember his last name. decided that
Oh, but tell me about that.
it was an adjustment. I remember I was at work and I got the email and they were like, so we're gonna move to online classes, but you don't have to leave yet. And then about a week later, they sent a follow-up email saying that we had until the following week to move off campus and take as much stuff as we can because they aren't entirely sure when we'll have the opportunity to come back and get our stuff. So now we're awaiting correspondence regarding that. But a lot of our professors are not the most tech savvy individuals. I have 2 professors that actually just now added our classes to like the online platform that we use. And they've had it's been a learning curve for them also. So like we're walking them through how to use Blackboard as they're teaching us how to like submit assignments and things. And they're becoming more and more understanding the more we like work together. But I think the line between like professor and student is being blurred a lot more because for them, this is like a huge leap. They're normally just coming to class and then they like give their lesson and leave. But now they're asking us like, okay, so how do I open a folder for you all to submit an assignment, or how do I, and they're requiring a lot more of us. Personally, for me, it's been a bit more difficult because I have 4 other siblings trying to work remotely for my internship and also trying to manage schoolwork, and I have a full class load. So honestly, it's been like really difficult, but I relocated. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. So I'm close to Michigan, but I'm not in Michigan. I'm from Ohio, but it's,
Dude, that's a lot. I feel like the education system is about to be fundamentally changed. I'm just mad that they're still charging y'all for full price, like for half the experience. Like
they are refunding us our the remainder of the semester. So they were able to work that out for us.
So Cam, I can speak to what it looks like. Again, I'm going to keep reiterating that I am on the 80s baby end of the spectrum, and for my 9 to 5, I actually work for our local school district. What it looks like for K through 12, I mean, we haven't even seen like what this could potentially be in the future. I know right now we've been using this phrase, the digital divide, for over a decade now, and it finally has resonated with people in high places where I know there have been a lot of opportunities for young children to engage like with tablets and do Zooms like we're doing right now, but everybody don't have it like that. So even, where you had Comcast to come out and say, well, we will provide 60 days of free service with Comcast Essentials, that doesn't really matter if you don't have a device. I think that there have been a lot of just like, oh, it's not that bad, but it is that bad. And then when you start to think about children with special needs, for example, it gets really gray around how to support children who needs the extra support, even like children that don't necessarily have cognitive issues, but physical needs, like how do we get nursing services to students? How do we get speech therapists to students? So it has really been stressful for those folks who work within the K through 12 sector as well, trying to figure out how to navigate supporting parents with essentially taking on the role of people who have teaching degrees.
Exactly. Like I'm hoping this is more of an early and not like the new norm, because I think it's unsustainable. I mean, everybody was happy, like not happy, but like, all right, I can be home. But like now that we're in like week 3 of being at home, like it just all of this feels like drastically different. But something that it has been popping up a lot more is like just social media use. Like there's metrics, like I work in the communications, but like also on the data analytics side, like there's just so many metrics about like increased video use, increased bandwidth use, like more impressions, like obviously like all these different stay at home, like even what we're doing right now, stay at home DJs, online parties, people, family Zoom check-in calls, like Zoom stock is through the roof. I hope if you guys can afford to get on Robinhood, you could just start with like $5, like $100 or something, but buy some Zoom stock, even though by everybody else's crashing, Zoom has been going up. But anyways, social media use, I'm wondering, like, all you guys have like brands or work in, even if you don't have a brand, you're supporting a brand. You might work for a member of Congress, or you might work for an organization or company, or you're in the political arena, or you're in the kind of moving and shakers. Like, what are you doing different now? Like, are you on more, like, how are you keeping your brand, or how are you keeping your social media use alive? Or have you fallen back because it's too much? Like, I'm curious to like what people are, how they're interacting with social media right now.
I could speak to that. I definitely feel as if I have been on social media more. In regards to like Instagram, just funny things that are happening. So I just kind of I need a break from all the craziness that's going on. Like, I'm one of those people who has news alerts for everything. So it's like my phone is constantly buzzing. So sometimes I do need to go on Instagram to get a good laugh. And then I use like my Twitter platform more of a resource to like help people, especially like small businesses, in regards to where they could find like to get their loans and things of that nature, and like to tell people to like stay inside and things of that nature, because I am in the political arena, so I definitely hear a lot. And I also work on small businesses for my boss. So I definitely have like an upper hand in regards to like sharing information with masses about how to stay safe, how to access certain loans, telling people that you could forego your student loans and things of that nature. I definitely have seen that trend like among my friends in the political arena, just so we could like help people out, because some people are really like clueless of like what they should do. I know a lot of people, I'm also legislative correspondent, so I see what people are like writing in about, saying that like they couldn't afford to go home from college, and can they get a check off of that, like a reimbursement and things of that nature. So I definitely enjoy seeing like my colleagues in the political arena like also being like a helpful resource to people.
Hey, this is Ashley. So I also, my 9 to 5, I work for TV1. And so what we've done is, of course, we've gotten on the whole producing live experiences for people at home by tapping into our Unsung brand. And so we've been, providing those at-home concerts. We just had one with Marvin Sapp, and we have some more coming up. We kicked it off, I forget who we kicked it off with, but with lots of different R&B and gospel artists, just to try and encourage people to have a good time and to stay safe, but also stay safe while being at home. And right now we're diving into some other new innovative ideas to bring experiences to our followers and to be a platform to really connect with people and to amplify the talent that we have. It was Kenny Lattimore. That's who it was. It was Kenny Lattimore. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back this week.
Was that off the chat? I was like, why? Who are you talking
to? Yeah, no, it was in the chat. Brittany Stewart told me that was Kenny Lattimore. And yes, it was. He was great.
For me, I've been like scaling back my social media use because it's kind of triggering for me, because I'm just like someone who has to look into like every single fact about like the coronavirus, and then I start like getting myself anxious. So I'm like scaling back with that. But it's also like a good thing because I get to like be present and mindful about like where I am and like what's going on in the world. Yeah. So I'm also using that time away from social media to work on my brands and things of that nature as well.
Doing digital media for a couple of Democratic groups here. For one, there's like Gertrude Stein, then there's various different Democratic organizations. And so our main objective right now is trying to walk that fine line between serving as a secondary source of information, whether that be for like the CDC or the mayor's office or whatever's going on, but also not freaking people out. So also like sharing uplifting things as well. And so really right now it's just, we're working on finding that balance and walking that balance on keeping people politically engaged, but also at the same time, not like making people think that the house is actually burning down.
Yeah. No, go ahead, please.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, Clement, go. Can you go real quick? Because you hadn't jumped in yet.
Oh, me? Okay. Yeah. So I just want to echo something that Kayla said. And, I've been using social media a lot more only to really um, find laughs and good content. I would say that Black Twitter is undefeated as always in any situation. But for me personally, it's come in waves. I think in the first, I guess, week of this, or at least for my office working from home, I found myself using social media a lot more than I normally do because normally you're in the, at least for me, I'm in the office. But for me, working on one of the committees that are heavily involved in, or was heavily involved in writing the most recent stimulus package and will be in any stimulus package to come, you kind of have to take a step back and realize how much you're on just devices in general because we were all working from home and trying to stay involved and plugged in with what's going on. The other day, I called my phone a black hole, and I just felt myself just kind of losing myself in all the Instagram updates and Twitter mentions and whatever's trending. So I'm kind of trying to take this time. I'm in a new phase now, social media use, which is kind of falling back from it and trying to just enjoy or find a way to enjoy time by myself or just in silence or reading a book or I don't know, cleaning, washing clothes, whatever. So that's kind of where I'm at. That's kind of where I see some of my friends and my network at as well.
I actually, it's kind of like interesting, but I don't have any social media platforms. I don't have Instagram. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Snapchat.
Hold up, you're not a real person then. Like you don't exist. Like it's 2020.
All the time, I feel like people like it's fairly uncommon. Like people in my generation. I'm sorry.
I'm joking. Ashley made this look when you said I don't have any platforms.
I know. I always I try to say it slow because people just look at me like, what? And they would assume like, well, then how do you know what's going on? And I tell people that it's actually made me a lot more dogmatic in particular about the information that I digest. And I'm like, I now do a lot more research about the things that come into my purview. So like, I'll read an article and I'm like, I've never if I look up this person and I can't find out where they were educated, their experience in this area and how credible they are to speak on this issue, then I don't consider this to be viable because things trend all the time from my understanding on social media and people don't often go and do further research. They normally just read the headline. And another aspect that I noticed about social media that it's really prevalent in my generation is that people will approach you with the assumed clout that you think that you have on social media. So I approach everyone the same way. You may have 60,000 followers on Instagram, but I don't know that. I'm going to talk to you like you have 3 followers on Instagram. We're all regular people to me. And in this time and now everything's it's very important that you watch the news. I actually probably watch the news a lot more. Usually when I'm getting ready for class or going to work, I just leave the news on and I listen to it. And I read more often, but in this time, I'm very, very particular about what I'm digesting. I needed to hear it from actual medical professionals, not someone who's read something, who's now posting something because they think that they understand it. You don't necessarily, I'm not trying to discredit anyone or their opinions, but in a time like this, I feel that a lot of the reason why people are panicking is due to misinformation. And that's a general problem across the board with my personal problems with social media. So that's why I don't really participate. And I don't feel that I'm losing anything by it. And people are you're not a real person, but I'm having a great time.
No, I feel it. I mean, heck, to each his own, sister. I mean, you're one of the few. I kind of strive to be like you a little bit too. I wish I could, but since my money is made there, and a lot of my work is made there, I gotta keep it up. But I do have a question for I got a specific question. Everybody was betting on this is 2020. We're still having an election. Donald Trump would love to use this as an excuse to go to a all mail by home, vote by home ballot, election. If he could, if he could turn this into his own thing, um, be able to oh yeah, we need to just postpone. He's trying to come up with any reason or anything to do. But this was supposed to be the election where the young people are going to turn out. Bernie Sanders has staked his whole campaign on that. So many people on in different clients and people I've worked with both professionally and just in my free time so many young organizations, like this is going to be the largest turnout in a generation of young people of 25 and under, or 30 and under, 30 to 18 people to vote. Like this is supposed to be that one. Like the midterm election was like the largest youth voter turnout in a generation. So like we're trending that way. Like people want Donald Trump out of office. Hopefully, if Biden is probably going to be the nominee, a lot of the stats show that like the youth energy is maybe not there, but they hopefully it'll get on board because we don't want Trump. But I'm curious to now, like, being politically active now, everything has to move online. You can't go touch people. You can't go talk to people. You can't do rallies. You can't do events. Like, what both like are young people about to be more politically active? Do people want to come and get internships on Capitol Hill? Like, are people going out campaigning? Like, I know we got some people from the Congressional Black Associates, my old stomping ground. I'm curious, anybody got that? Like, are people going to be more politically engaged, or you think this is going to scare people away from the polls and scare people away from being engaged?
I'll go ahead and say something on that. Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. I honestly, I think it's going to turn out more people, but because people are realizing what the impacts are if you don't have leadership at the very top. If this was Barack Obama or somebody else, the country as a whole, even the economy might feel completely different, but it's Donald Trump who like 2 weeks ago literally was, just brushing off the coronavirus and saying, this isn't a big deal, or it's a hoax, or, it's the liberal media. But now you're starting to see what can happen if you don't have leadership at the top. And I personally think people will come out more to vote because you're at home and you're thinking about, man, like, why are we in this predicament? We talked about the digital divide. Okay, how do we make sure that schools have enough money to give their students laptops that can't personally afford it? Or how do we make sure that people in rural communities have the broadband bandwidth to do things like this? And I think that all goes back to leadership and at the top. And while people are home, I think people are going to realize that a lot of that has to do with just different leadership. So I think people will turn out more because of this.
I agree with David. Oh, I'm on mute. Oh, I agree with David. Well, I think we now have a unique opportunity to bring politics to a digital platform where it hasn't been before, especially when it comes to connecting with younger millennials in Generation Z. There's always kind of been that disconnect where they're online or we're online and politics is kind of happening offline. I think we now have a unique opportunity to do some things where we can bring politics and reach people. We know they're at home. We know this is the perfect time to phone bank. You can't canvas, but it's the perfect time to really even expand the digital organizing world and kind of reach people where they are and kind of build out those things where maybe not this election, but in 2024, we have it where we can have some type of online or electronic voting and we can have more people involved that way. But I think now people do see what it's like to not have leadership at the top and what a failing government looks like. They can see now kind of how exposed our government really is. And I think it really will turn people out in November, even if people just want to get outside to vote or however we figure out how to vote. I think people are going to be more charged up come November.
Yeah, I also echo that in that as a college student, I feel like we are going to be just more inclined to participate because the whole idea of like sending people back home, especially the way Howard handled it. I love my school, but yeah, Brittany was right. Like one day it was like, we'll be back April 6th. The next day it was like, okay, go take all your stuff home. Then it was like, take all your stuff home today, like leave and don't come back. So it was just really haphazard in how it happened. And a lot of people are in circumstances that are not suitable for online classes. So I think just seeing that and seeing how inconvenienced you can be based on leadership is going.
No, that's real. Like some people got too many people. You got hella people living in your house. Like you can't.
Yeah. And like even if you do have internet, if it's because like I'm at home and my cousin's also in college and my other cousin, like she works from home now. So it's like everyone's here using all the same internet. And even if we have internet, but it's not going to be the strongest if everyone's on it during the same time. So it's just, I think
we're like younger people are going to turn out just because we're more directly affected as opposed to other things. Like something like healthcare, we're affected, but like a lot of us can't, like, are under our parents' health insurance. It's like we don't really know, but being forced out of your dorm in the middle of the semester, internships getting canceled, like LSAT, like my LSAT stuff getting canceled, the bar getting canceled. So it's just really affecting people directly, and just like you're seeing why, because we could have been wrapped this up to some extent, but because of our leadership, it's been drawn out, and like it's been extended extra 30 days. We're gonna be here till like August. Like it's just for what?
Yeah, I like to echo on that too. I think right now, especially with everything going on with New York, where our election got pushed back to June. And I think I'm worried. I think at this point, if they're able to push it back to June and there's no direct approach on how they're going to mobilize us, especially with everything just like building up month by month, well, not even month by month, but like hour by hour, we don't know how this election season is going to look. And I just think that with New York being a prominent state and, you know, where we typically do come out, I'm interested to see how young people will be mobilized and how that vote will look. And they have, you know, just different models in place that there could be possibly online voting, and I wonder what that would look like. It just looks like a catastrophe. I could not see anything
It
like
looks
that.
like black people and Latino people getting screwed. That's what online.
Yeah, of
like,
course. But I'm just saying that like what will be implemented, and just like, you know, triple prime voters, like those voters that come out on every election season, like how will they be accounted for? And with the census, you know, I don't even think they're doing a great job on the top down from making sure that people are holding themselves accountable to completing it. Like we should just do a whole challenge for the day at this point. Everyone's home to make sure the census is completed. And I think those are the steps that we have to take when it comes to
right here. This group right here. That's fucking sweet. Like, stop. Best idea. Hard stop. Yo, let's start a system challenge. There's enough. I think we're all Negroes on here. Yes, there's enough people on here with enough juice. There's enough, like, straight up.
This
like,
challenge, yeah, it should be that one.
Like, this challenge. I'm serious.
I would definitely do it.
I didn't get my system form yet. So should we start it today?
You don't need your form. You can do it online. It's so easy now. You can complete the shit online. Yes.
Yo,
you know who didn't do the census? You know you can do it
right. Who completed the census in here?
Let's not.
I didn't take it, but I had my people sign me up for it.
Okay. Be honest. How does it feel for you? I mean, I want to ask you, Joel, how's it been for you, like, you know, being a rep and having to manage this remotely and like try to have some type of decorum?
Oh, well, you know, I really just been chilling. I've been out and about, really going around to different places. I think the key is just realizing right now it's almost like a place where we can flourish. And so, you know, even dealing with some of my colleagues, I'm able to teach them some things that might be beneficial for their district. But I think overall we're in a very interesting place. I think social media use has went up. You know, emails, conference calls, Zoom calls, FaceTimes, all different things. The problem, though, I think, is just the way that it came down, and even going. And I like to touch on that leadership topic that I believe brother was talking about earlier with Trump. I think we're at a place right now where, since we're in this crisis because of, you know, whoever manufactured this crisis, they came down and created this mass hysteria. And so now we're in a very reactive phase. I'm trying to make sure people are calm about it and people aren't stressing out about it. Now you got all these people dying, all these cases coming up, and though the majority of people are recovering, as we start talking about all these deaths, and we just talked about like it almost being a death sentence immediately, instead of really taking the time to let people know that you can recover from it. I think we kind of put ourselves behind because so many people think now like, oh my God, like the corona's in the air is going to get us, you know, I'm going to die. And now we're seeing all these people fall into the side. But it's also making our president, you know, in a way, making him look good. I mean, you got to think about when a crisis occurs as a president, right? When's the last time y'all seen Biden or Bernie on an interview? You know,
We got
that point. Yeah, I want to jump in here real quick and ask some stats. These are not all fully polling has been released that he's actually he's increased in young Black males, like his approval numbers have actually gone, but they're not fully tested polls, so like just but
you gotta think.
I've seen polls that have said that.
You gotta think about it like
keep going.
Dude, you got to think about it like it's a crisis. The only person he's being highlighted because he's the president. The president and the governors have been the ones making the news primarily. And so since they're the one making the news, they're the ones taking point on everything. These are the people that's going to be highlighted. Nobody's thinking, you know, on social media, you may see a post here or there, but nobody's thinking about Bernie. Nobody's thinking about Biden right now. People they're thinking about, damn, I'm trying to avoid catching this virus that's floating around and just checking on people. And so we're actually giving Trump a platform right now, almost that's gonna essentially take him to re-election, really, and that's just a reality we have to figure out. And so it's not even about who we like. I think being Black, we've been I think we've been in a very bad predicament our entire lives, our entire existence. And so I don't think it's about whether or not we like Biden or Bernie, though they might be much better than Trump or not. It's about how well we're going to come together as a people and just lobby and ask for whatever we want or demand whatever we want.
Yeah, if I could
get down with Trump.
If I may jump in as well, I know throughout this entire process, the most presidential person I've seen on this issue is Governor Cuomo, and again, I haven't seen much of anything with. And after him, I would probably say Gavin Newsom, and then also Governor Whitmer in Michigan. We are not really seeing, out of the people that are going to be on the ballot in November, we have not really seen great leadership of any of those. That includes Trump, that includes Sanders, and that includes Biden. And I see Biden now is kind of coming out more to make more statements, but I really don't think that, I think as young people, we're going to really have to work to make sure that the issues that are impacting us directly, that we keep our friends energized and remind them about those issues leading into November, because I really don't feel that we have candidates right now either ticket. I don't feel that we have candidates that are going to energize young people and get those people out to the polls.
I would have to agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I disagree though. If a pandemic and 3.3 million people on unemployment after 2 weeks of working doesn't motivate you, then like what does it take to get people energized? Because these are the darkest times that I can recall growing up in, just from leadership. So, I mean, I don't know if a candidate can get people out to vote. I think it's just young people not realizing that your one vote can change. But I mean, if this doesn't motivate you to go out and vote, what is? Because this is a pandemic. We have millions of people filing for unemployment. We realize how fragile our economy is, that if some people can't go to work for 2 days, they are absolutely screwed. So like I don't know. I think that's a mindset that we're trapped in, that you have to have this candidate. And I mean, we got spoiled with Barack Obama because we all came of age during the Obama years. So we're like, yeah, let's look for this person on the mountaintop to lead us. But like, you know, think about our grandparents and our parents, like they might necessarily had a candidate that motivated them. They just knew if they voted for the person that best fits their ideas, that they could have a better outcome or a better future. So, I mean, I don't know. If we can't get out and vote, especially as Black people, you're going to see this virus. The heaviest toll will be within the Black community. I don't know. If we can't get out and vote now, then what's going to motivate us? Because I don't know.
Oh, I like to touch on that. I don't think that it's about motivation right now. It's strategic planning. We have nothing to be motivated about. People are dying, literally. A lot of my people have died. I know so many people who have died from this pandemic, at least 5 off the top of my head. And who knows who's on a 100% ventilator right now in the hospital. We have to stop trying to motivate people. We got to stop trying to create this narrative and really look at what's really going on right now. Okay, none of the candidates, in my opinion, should be president. None of the candidates. But okay, we know we have to be strategic in how we do this. So let's make sure that we have people that are quote unquote on our side that are going to be in office so that we don't die in a multitude of numbers. But with that being said, what are we doing in the community? Because they're not taking care of us. They're telling us, they're making PPE mask orders and hospital or gown orders instead of telling people to take the home remedies at home. If you look on any social media, if we want to touch on social media, we have seen that the home remedies are keeping people alive before they go to the hospital. And when they get to the hospital, and if you look up on the CDC, if you look up ventilators on the CDC, it says that a ventilator can give you pneumonia. What are we doing here? We are literally creating a catastrophe within our own selves by continuing to keep this white folk narrative of what politics should look like. What is the world we're going to live in?
Hold up. Yeah.
Sorry. Let me take it there. I'm sorry. Then that's the problem.
Ain't nothing to be sorry about. Ain't nothing to be sorry about.
Look at Sean.
Last point. The last point I'm going to make is stop being scared. Everybody on this live, stop being scary. Don't worry about your bills getting paid, because why? God is real. And if we continue to feed the enemy, we're going to continue to be in this crisis. People are going to continue to die. I'm not here to just continue to stroke egos. I'm not here to do any of that. And I'm not going to do it. If you want to see something that's going to be revolutionary change, it starts with us. And it starts with us stop kissing the white man butt. And I'm done.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Oh, amen. What?
Can I say something?
Yeah, please.
Kind of not respond to that, but you've been reminding me of something I was reading or listening to the other day. Sunday, I decided to check out this new church in my neighborhood, and they have like an online service, and their sermon was about Jonah and the whale and the storm that God sent Jonah because Jonah decided to ignore God's commands to go to, I forget the name of the town, the village. And the pastor was saying that you can visualize or kind of conceptualize this pandemic as a storm, and not that it was sent by God, but it's something that's chaotic that you can't control. And so I think in moments like this, what they said is, they awaken you and they kind of give you a sense of clarity and make you try to, if not analyze or just realize what your purpose is. And so I think, kind of echoing off of what is it Denasia? Did I get that wrong? Got that wrong.
Sorry, it's Deaja.
Deaja, sorry. So echoing off what you're saying, I think, this is the prime time to kind of, if not as a people, as an individual, just take a moment, take a step back from your day to day and whatever rat race that you're engaged in, and just figure out what it is that you want to accomplish in your life and what it is that you want for your community and what it is that you want for your family. If you don't have kids and you are aspiring to have a family, what is it that you want for your family in the future? And I think the more people start thinking about that, that's where you'll see motivation or excitement or disappointment in our elected officials if they are unhappy with them, and kind of a movement to go to the polls and cast your vote. Because one thing that I'm thinking about, I have a little cousin who's she's 4 years old and she has a little brother who's 2, and they're like children to me. So one thing I'm concerned about is what world do I want for them when they're my age, when they're in their mid-20s and they're graduating from college and going off to work. Are they going to live in a country where the government's going to take care of you or your community's going to take care of you when shit's hitting the fan and it's out of your control? So I think the more that people start thinking about that, and I think that they will, once we move through this pandemic, because we're just in the early stages. I mean, a lot of the stats that we're getting are delayed, from tests to people who are dying to people who recovered. So I'm just wanting to echo off what sister from Wayne County was saying. Shout out to Wayne County. and, use this moment to truly, take stock in your life and your family and your community, and what, if you were to enter this situation again in your 40s or 50s, what do you want society to be doing? And I think that will definitely indicate to the electorate, to voters, who to choose this year.
No, yeah. I mean, I think this is going to be an interesting experiment where no one really has truly understands or knows what's going to happen, because like this is throwing a curveball upon curveballs. Like all statistical analysis, all previous motivations, like people are just moving different. Our psyche is going to change. So we could hope everybody's going to be engaged, but I mean, it's real. Like you tell people to stay home for 2 or 3 months, a bunch of people are going to get adapted to that lifestyle, or when they do go outside, people are already going, when I have gone out, people looking at you crazy. Like, and I feel like that may stay around for a minute. But one question that did come from offline, because we are getting to the happiest of hours, is going, and I want to be respectful of people's time. With conversation will keep going. I'm gonna shut the live off in probably about 5 or 10 minutes or whatever. But if you do need to jump, because I know y'all busy as people, you can jump. But I just wanted to keep it going because a couple good questions came up from YouTube, but one specifically that I think everybody here can address. Well, everybody have a conversation about, and then we'll go into the introductions. What about virtual fatigue? Now that we're all online, like we're doing this, like I'm in Zoom meetings all day for my job. People are like having all these IG chats. Everybody's going live. Like everybody's doing phone calls. We're already still texting, all these different things. Do you think there's going to be some virtual fatigue, like on the other end of it? Like this is doing too much?
I can answer that.
Hurling,
Yeah.
Yes, please talk to me.
So the biggest thing that I found almost a week into being home is the lines or the boundaries between work and home became non-existent. So it's like an ongoing thing. There is no 9 to 5. It was like that before, but it's like amplified. For me, going back to the social media question, I definitely took a break just because I did find myself getting really tired, taking 3-4 naps, short naps throughout the day, just to kind of revamp and refresh in my mind to get back into work and get things started all over again. And even more so, I was already an introvert before, but I find myself being even more introverted just because of the constant stimulation that I'm getting from online. So I would definitely say that's something that is very feasible to be experiencing with all of this going on.
I mean, I could hop in and go ahead, brother.
No, go.
You know, I think like me, like even like right after this, I think like at 8:30, I got another Zoom call. I think I don't believe actually in fatigue for real. I think it's all up to you. Like I think if you are getting to a point where you no longer want to deal with it or something like that, that's a line you have to draw. But I think, as long as you're ready to rock, it's a predicament that we're in right now. It's something that we need to do in order to get the work done. And so I say, it's effective, it's efficient, it works, let's do it. Now if you get to a point where you're just like, man, this is too much. There's too much going on. It's too much to handle. I'm getting all these notifications, all these calls, whatever. I think that's the point where you have to have a conversation with yourself and make some kind of decision to just say, either to set up some kind of regimen or to have some communication with your leadership or your team and let them know what's going on. Because if you're driving yourself into a place where you're not your best self or you're not operating at your highest efficiency, it's not a place you want to be, especially when we need you to be 100%, 110%, because the rest of the world is crumbling right in front of us, so.
Just to piggyback off of that, I definitely am feeling like virtually fatigued, only because like we have just being on the Hill in general, I feel like all of our bosses are just so anxious because we're getting thousands and thousands of correspondence from constituents who are genuinely just so scared and they don't know what's going on. So I have like a 9:15 a.m. call every morning. Everyone has to be on video chat. And then also with that, like I have my bosses FaceTiming me throughout the day. I'm legislative correspondent. So like they always want to ensure that I'm like on top of like the mail program, just ensuring that I am responding to constituents. And then we have like an end of the day call. And we can't just say that I'm so overwhelmed that I can't like talk to you anymore, because this is literally our jobs. Like, but behind the healthcare workers, it's literally the people who are in politics, on the Hill, in the government, in state and local governments. And it's literally like Joelle said in the chat, like it's our time to shine. Like everything that we've been working for, like our whole life, this is like now that we have to like put in our all. I'm just trying to find out like, or figure out like what is the balance, because right now, like being on week 3, I feel so drained. So I'm just trying to like just talk with other people about what we can do to ensure that the people who are like understanding the policy and the people who do have the information to pass along, that our mental health is okay, because I could feel like even myself and my friends, like it's dwindling down, like because we're also anxious as well on top of our jobs being public servants.
Yeah, and then to further elaborate, I don't think it's just a human thing either. Like I've read several articles where Mark Zuckerberg even came out and said that the internet is even being overwhelmed with the over usage or the surge in usage. So there's actually been a few places in the world where they've slowed down the bandwidth because it's just so much happening at one time. So I think it's very natural to feel that fatigue on the human level and technologically too. So I think one of the scariest things would probably be if the internet were to shut down. And I've read a few things that said that's a very possible thing.
Oh, we're not ready for that. We're not ready for that.
I don't think anybody's ready for that. But there's been a few places in India where they've literally slowed down the bandwidth, or it's been shut down for a few hours because they've just been experiencing so much usage. So I think that is when everyone will become real hot-headed and start to freak out if the internet shuts down. So
Jewel, like, nah, it would be beautiful, brother.
It would be beautiful. It'd be so nice. Is anybody from Cuba in here? Like, you gotta go to hot.
It would be like Cuba.
Yes, it's like you have to actually go get the things you need. Like,
And I would love it. I would love it.
I loved Cuba for that reason. Like, you had to want to contact someone when you're there.
Man, the Wi-Fi shut off. The Wi-Fi shut off the other day. I finished a book, and I got a chance to work out and eat a whole bunch of food that I've been waiting to cook. So it's like, of course, business might slow down in one degree, but maybe sometimes it's important to unplug, especially if it's a involuntary unplugging. I think it's okay sometimes. Take your time.
You finished a book. What book did you read?
It was a book. I met a brother named Tyree Williams at the Forbes Summit. He gave me a book. It's called Why Not Now. Him and his girl had co-written a book. So I just
read it cover to cover.
Oh yeah.
Damn, you trying to cover my man.
Hey, I was about 30 pages in already, so I cheated a little bit, but I read the book. It took me about 5 hours, but every hour on the dot, I got me a little workout in, drank me some water, got back into the text. I knocked it out. So, it's a productive day. That's something I wouldn't do on a typical day if I was on my phone or if I was on my computer. And so sometimes, it's important just to, it's not, we can't voluntarily make those decisions, but if it happens and you have nothing to do.
Yes, no, we need to get a lot of books, y'all.
I personally have books.
All right, I'm gonna let Jatarius go to real quick, and then I got one last question for everybody to wrap up.
Cool. Thanks. I personally, I've learned to be a little bit more intentional with my time and how I allocate it. I really enjoy volunteering, and I will often find myself in places where other people have volunteered me for things because they just know generally the answer is going to be yes. But I really have had to be intentional because I have people that will reach out and say, OJ, can you throw it together a quick flyer? And it's like, they're just considering they're one organization. They're not looking at the fact.
Hold up, you do flyers? Hold up, you do flyers? Can you throw together a quick flyer? Because the brother needs some flyers. You see my flyer? This is some shit, and I pay for that. I need a quick flyer. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Just like tell people, not just an outright no, but I'm gonna set my own timelines during this period, and it really has been quite healthy for me because I am finding that there, like the first week that we went into kind of working from teleworking and working at home, I was still trying to make the transition over to working from home for my job, but also dealing with political organizations and trying to get like forums and things like that set up online, and it was a lot. And so I really had to tell some people, hey, I know this is when you want things done, but one, you're not paying me, and two, like this is my mental health. So this is when I can get these things back to you. And what I'm realizing is that people are perfectly happy with the timelines that I'm proposing to them.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, I've also like in other internships that I've had, I work solely remotely. And I think because I didn't always come into the office, they expected that I could get it done like just whenever. But I made a habit of not telling them no, but I would tell them I can do this if you can allot me like these specific things, another person on my team, another day to do it, or these resources that I need to get it done. And if they can't provide me those things, that they'll normally find someone else to do it. So then I didn't tell them no. They like decided to go and ask someone else. But like at the end of the day, it still normally gets done if I can do it, like if it's feasible for me. But like you said, my mental health, I'm a student. I like to work out and I cook and like I do a lot of other things and like I have a life.
Yeah.
The line of like business and my personal life, I'm like really stagnant about like not making sure that my business life doesn't infringe on like my mental health. So tell them like I can do it, but I'm gonna need 3 days, or I'm gonna ask that someone from the digital department comes and helps me with this. Or
hold up, you taking demands out here. You just you got a lot of latitude that I don't know if everybody got. I don't know if everybody got it like that, but
I'd lose my job trying to make all them demands. I like my job. I need my job. You know, I got a mortgage.
So I feel you. I need mine too right now to keep paying to do cool stuff like this. But first of all, I just want to say thank you. We're not ending, but we're kind of ending, but we're at least ending the live stream because I want to be respectful of people's time. And I want to do like a closing question. Because I'm curious, the platform is Hip Politics. Selfishly right now, please, when you're follow Hip Politics podcast on Instagram, please be a subscriber. We're on 1,000 subscribers. We just started our YouTube channel. So subscribe Hip Politics on YouTube. That's just a little plug. And we got sponsors now, so I'm doing ads. But there won't be an ad in this, so you don't have to sign off anything.
Hope you follow back.
I will follow back everybody, of course, and I'll connect everybody. But I do have a question that I wanted to quickly kind of go through all the featured panelists and the featured happy hour guests who came on. This has been a great conversation. We'll keep it going. But this is like one closing question to get everybody to introduce themselves. We're listening to way more music or watching way more TV. We're watching way more shows and video. We're Hip Politics. I need to know what you're listening. What hip hop? It might not be hip hop music, but I'm sure there's at least a hip hop song that's been getting through. So Ambitious has been my thing. I've been heavy on both my Jay Z playlists and just on some like boss trying to like think of like innovative ways. Like my Jay Z playlist, I've been heavy on. I've been heavy on my Lil Wayne playlist, and I've really been on my Lil Baby playlist. Like that mix of those three people have like been getting me through a lot. But Jeezy did just drop an album on Friday, so I've been listening to that. But I'm curious if everybody could go around and say your name, say like your title or like what it is that you do, like quickly introduce yourself and what one song or album has been getting you through now that we've been home for the last couple of weeks, and just kind of go through a round robin I'll just call your first name out and like say your name. And then also like if you want people to follow you, just say follow me at, but just name, your title, your Instagram or Twitter, and then what's been getting you through. Let me start with Ashley Smith.
Hey, well, that's my name. And I am a senior marketing manager at TV1. And I also do private media and marketing consulting as well. And right now, I have been listening to and working out to Body by Pretty Ricky. And that's like the only song that I listen to while I run because for whatever reason, it just really gets me through my run. And I'm allergic to running. So I think it's pretty awesome. So that, and of course, you know, Savage by Meg Thee Stallion has also been on repeat to help me get through the workday.
Latricia, congratulations. I see you. Yes. And you just got married.
Yes.
That's definitely Ashley, not me. So I'm I'm Latricia Adams. I am the founder, president, and CEO of Black Millennials for Flint, which is a whole full-time job, but my traditional 9-to-5 job, I am the manager for organizational quality for the Office of Charter Schools for Shelby County Schools, one of the youngest managers in Shelby County. Whoop, whoop. And I'm listening to, no, I did not get married. And I am listening to my boo thing, Lizzo, on repeat. And also, I'm gonna cheat a little bit, and also Savage by my wife, Megan Thee Stallion. That's the only person I'm
Hey, hey, David Daniels, check in, my brother. And then, wait, before David checks in, and I'm about to take some civil liberties. David, when I see you from now on, we got to dap up because I feel like we know each other but don't know each other. I mean, when social distances is over, because it's like I left the hill in 2016 technically, but I still embrace Harleen like ton of CBA. I know you, but I don't know you, but I know like your chief of staff, like and your LD and people. Those are all my generation of Howard. I mean, I said Howard of
yeah, they didn't get
people. So, but I've heard about you. I definitely want to have coffee when we're allowed to have coffee. But I know I've heard great things. Yeah, I know you're a good brother. But when I see you now, I know you, or at least know you enough to like, all right, what's up? So, but David, check it.
Well, first, I appreciate all the compliments. I hope I live up to them when I meet you. What have I been listening to? Stevie Wonder, Jackson 5, like the old school stuff. I don't know. It's like uplifting music. What was the other questions? What did you want to know? Oh, what I do.
No, what do you do? What do you do? How people can get
so I'm on Capitol Hill. I'm a special assistant to Congressman Joe Kennedy III from Massachusetts. What does a special assistant do? It's LC and SA stuff all put in together, and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. Jatarius Frazier.
So Jatarius Frazier, and I am the vice president of the DC Young Democrats. You're all good. And I'm also the special assistant to the deputy mayor for operations and infrastructure here in DC. You can follow me at Jatarius in DC. And right now I'm listening to Solange, but mainly a lot of Robert Glasper. I love me some Robert Glasper. Lived in Houston Baptist. And the album from The Photograph has really been getting me through the last couple of weeks. So.
Hey, next, can I get? I feel you. Sherry, check in.
Hi everyone. My name is Sherry Sangwa. I'm a junior at Howard, poli-sci econ double major, originally from Kansas City, Missouri. Yeah, I already know what we do. I work for Cameron. What was the other thing? What do you do? I do a lot of stuff, but I'm mainly a student. Right now, the album that's been getting me through is Tame Impala, The Slow Rush, their most recent album. So it's not hip hop, but it's been getting me through. Check it out.
I've never even heard of that.
You never heard of Tame Impala? See, okay, the next session
people are laughing at me, so apparently
we're gonna put you on game the next session. But yeah, nice to meet you all.
Jewel Jones, Representative Jones.
Hey, family, it's been good hearing from you all, talking to you all. I'm a state rep here in Michigan. My name's Jewel Jones. I'm state rep in Michigan. Work at the police department still in the National Guard. I'm a veteran now. I'm running for my last term actually this year, so I'll be retiring from the House in a couple years. So I'm really an old head right now, like I was trying to tell Treese. So I'm in the old gang, but my age just happens to be young. But once again, it's just happy to see all this Black, not only political power, but just, us coming together. I think it's important. The more we do this, the more we can actually win in this world. So y'all stay Black, y'all stay healthy. Hope to see y'all soon out in these streets. Peace and love. Holla.
I feel you. Kayla Primes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kayla Primes. I work with Cameron in Hip Politics. I also am the Community Service Chair for the Congressional Black Associates, and I am a legislative correspondent for Representative Chrissy Houlihan. And also, I have my own nonprofit organization, Valor. I do a lot of things. I know it's pretty obnoxious sometimes, but the album that I've been listening to is Don Toliver, Heaven or Hell. It just came out maybe like 2 weeks ago. He is Travis Scott's artist. Under Cactus Jack is a fire album. Also,
and Chase, shout out to his DJ and also off Cactus Jack, Chase. Chase is a campus pal in Howard.
Oh, is it really? He went to Howard?
Hey, Chase B.
I had no idea.
That's my homie. Like,
is he really?
Travis Scott's main DJ, and he's in the Cactus Jack collective. Chase. They just opened a sneaker shop
in Houston. Yeah, in Houston.
And he's a campus spot. I just had to shout him out. Keep going.
And then every morning I'm listening to Beyonce, the live album, the last one that she did for Coachella. That album just gets me going, gets me hype. Sometimes I watch like the Netflix series, but usually I just play it on Tidal, which everybody should have Tidal over Spotify. But yeah, that's it. Oh, and then lastly, my social media handle is I'm just _KP. My nonprofit handle is Valor Cleve, VALOR Cleve. And then also be sure to follow Hip Politics News. We have a lot of cool things coming. And then also follow Hip Politics Podcast. We have a new podcast on the way soon. And yeah, just stay tuned for Hip Politics.
Kayla is hype because so our next produced podcast, it's gonna be her, comedian, and a couple other people. We're producing a new reaction show. So
yes, I have my own web series. So everyone tune in.
Yeah, you better
promoting it.
Seeds, promote them seeds. Okoye.
Hey everyone, from Brooklyn, New York. I'm sorry, I just went blank. But pretty much we're supposed to
where you're from and what do you do?
Okay.
And what song is
Got it. Ikoya from Brooklyn, New York. I'm a political consultant, and right now I'd say I've been listening to Solection Radio. It's like a mix that comes out every Saturday on Apple Music, and yeah, it's been great. They do a mix of different music, and I will say I've been listening. I'm trying to think, what is it? Kanye's Jesus is Born. I like that. In the morning, gets me up, and to be, even more direct, lift up your voices. That's it. That's my favorite one in the morning. And that's what I've been doing to get me through. Okay.
Yeah. I love it. Deja, Miss Ruffin, who are you talking to? Who are you texting? I see you. Check in real quick.
My name is Deidre Ruffin. I'm the 13th Congressional Democratic Party treasurer, and I also am a founding member of Black Women in Michigan Politics, a nonprofit organization.
Hold
And
up,
I also
I got. Can you repeat where you're from? Because it was slow for a second. Say that again.
I'm
I want
from
people to hear it.
Detroit,
No.
Michigan, but I live in Redford.
No, I meant with your organization. It went out right when you said it.
It's Rashida Tlaib's district, so it's 13th Congressional Democratic Party, and I'm the treasurer. And I also am the founding member of Black Women in Michigan Politics, a nonpartisan organization, co-founding member. And I also have my own bakery business. So maybe one day for your organizations, I can make some treats for you all. Music that I've been listening to, funny story, I just listened to Sam Cooke, Change Is Gonna Come, playing around with my phone, you know, singing it, and ended up crying for real, y'all. It got real, but people that I like to listen to like Lauryn Hill, Tupac, Nas, just a lot of good soul music, but a little rap added to it. So that's me.
No, I feel it. Denasia.
Oh, and Sada, y'all gotta listen to Sada Baby if y'all don't know him from Detroit.
Sada Baby out of Detroit. Yo, I fuck with Sada Baby. Sada Baby is tight. I like his videos. He has creative videos. Miss Smith.
Hey y'all, I'm Tanasia. I'm a teacher and I'm also a producer. I have a game show. It's a hip hop game show called Get Hip. Y'all can follow me on the gram, Nasia the Ninja, and then the Get Hips page is Get X Hip. Right now we like taking a little hiatus because me and my partner are both like in school dealing with life, but we promise that we're gonna like get back on our game. One music song that's been getting me through like this whole thing, I Want to Thank You by Alicia Myers. That's really my song. I listen to it like every day. And also another thing that's been getting me through this is like those IG live battles between like producers and songwriters, and then titled like they make playlists after with all the songs. So I've been tuning into that.
Oh, did you look at the Sean Garrett? Did you see the Sean Garrett verse The Dream joint today? Like
I missed that. Wait, today?
No, it's on Tidal. Like
Tidal. Oh yeah. I saw the playlist on Tidal, but I missed the live, and I'm glad I missed it because Sean Garrett.
Oh, they were talking ish. It was
the Neo Jonte Austin one was fire though. I was tuned in.
All right, Clement, can you check in, brother?
Yes, thank you all for the opportunity. Clement Abani Jr., Director Member Services for the Financial Services Committee Democrats, chaired by Representative Maxine Waters. The album that I've been listening to heavy lately is Jay Electronica's new album. I don't know if any of y'all have checked it out, but it's definitely.
You mean Jay Electronica and Jay-Z's joint album?
It's basically his joint album. But yeah, so I've been listening to that, and because of that, a lot of some old Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, etc. And I also do listen to Afrobeat music, both old and current. So that's kind of been getting me through a lot of old Afro beats like Fela Kuti and etc. are very revolutionary, and so it's something just to keep me motivated during these times. And yeah, that's what I'm listening to.
Brother, when this all slows down, we also need to get coffee. Nobody that's on the committee, I think maybe one person I'm still cool with, like from the iteration, because that committee has over the iterations between 2009. But some of my closest friends and coolest people, both professionally and personally, have all like come under the Congresswoman Waters' tree, and either through her personal office or through that committee. So we definitely need to connect.
Most definitely, yeah. I was actually just texting with someone who's watching this, and told me that you did his headshot for him back in the day. I won't drop any names, but
all right,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I did. Just trying to help out. Did Latricia? I think Latricia's mom called. Latricia's about to check in. So who else? Auburn, I think you need to check in real quick. Who else haven't I got?
I'm Auburn, like the university. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, live in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm fresh off the campaign trail, just finished fighting for Senator Warren down here in South Carolina, and getting back into the swing of things in my old job as the executive director of a nonprofit called Skin I'm In, where we do leadership development for middle school age Black girls, and back into my own media marketing and events business, where I help brands, big brands, small brands, do a lot of collaborative brand experience type events. It's getting me through. I don't know, y'all know about any Stunner for Vegas, but I'm a big Stunner fan. A big nudie fan.
Do that. Have you seen that video? That video is hilarious.
Yeah. Big nudie fan. Anything guns, trapping. That's what gets me through my day. That's where I'm at right now.
Did you say anything guns and trapping?
That's what gets me. All of that is where I'm at right now. And the number one song is No Go by Young Nudie right now. It gets me going every morning. So that's it.
Dude, I appreciate the honesty. You said anything guns and trapping is getting me through right now. That's funny to me.
That's my lane.
I've never heard nobody actually admit that. I've never heard nobody. Like, clearly that's the case, considering what's like the most popular music. But I never heard anybody like, you know what, anything about guns and trapping is getting me through right now. So I appreciate that, Auburn. You're my new best favorite person. I think we have everyone, and I saved the best for last. Yes, why are you looking at your phone?
No, you skipped me.
Who?
Me.
Brittany, did you not introduce yourself?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brittany. Brittany from Howard. HU. Hold up. HU?
You know?
If I was late, you know.
Hell yeah. You know, it was on mute.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of
Yeah, we gotta do that
Do it again. We have to do that over.
Really, yeah, could you try again?
The hand. But Brittany, please introduce yourself in the HU from
Okay, my name is Brittany Stewart. I'm a sophomore political science major, African American and international affairs double minor from Columbus, Ohio. I currently intern at Emily's List, and I am the director of policy and projects for HUSA.
Let's talk about, are you working with Stephanie Brown James?
I'm in her department, community and training engagement. Yes, she's wonderful.
Immediately speak to her. You know, she's been a guest on the Hip Politics podcast, but more intimately, that is like one of my good friends. I've known her since I was 13 years old, from Cleveland.
She's from Cleveland, yeah.
She's from Cleveland. She's in the Ohio alum chat, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's an Ohio alum chat?
There is.
For Howard?
There is. We have my mom is the president of the Alumni Association for Columbus right now. And there's one, like, I'm clearly not an alum yet, but there's one of everybody. I believe it's a Facebook group.
Oh.
Hold up. Put us in there.
Yeah. We're both from
I'm not an alum. I can tell my mother to add you all, but you can.
Okay, cool.
We're going to connect on that. And Herlene, yes, I see you look out. Are you texting somebody?
Yeah, my boss. Hey guys. What was that?
No, check in. It's on you.
Oh, okay. Hey y'all. This was actually a lot more fun than I was anticipating. So thank you, Cameron, for inviting me. I'm Herlene. I am a scheduler and legislative assistant for Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, who represents Kansas City, Missouri. I'm also the vice president of the Congressional Black Associates.
Hey, CBA.
And what I've been listening to, I'm an old school head. So as of lately, I've been listening to Brownstone, If You Love Me, the Tory Lanez song that he basically kind of went off of, and Afro beats. So those are the two things, and just kind of exercising to get through these times. So that's pretty much how I've been spending my time.
All right. Well, I love Brownstone. I had their CD single back in the day. That's how old of a millennial I am. But anyways, with that note, I want to thank everybody. Thank you guys. This has been another cool experience. Thanks. This was an experiment. I did the first one last Monday and I came up with it like 5 o'clock on Sunday. The idea is just to get these kind of conversations. As you can see, like some of you all, I'm personally connected, others through second and third connections, but I'm a people person. I'm a connector. I'm trying to help people. Like I realized a long time ago, I'm gonna be blessed way more if I help to bless and help other people. So it's natural. I just wanted to be able to find a new way with us all going through kind of this social isolation and working and all these days blending together. Like, how do I just get good dope groups of people together to have good conversation? We've got a platform, we've got a media company, we've got a podcast, we've got a following. So just wanted to bring people together. Like, thank you. This has been both informative. It's actually also felt like to Herlin's point, like this is always more fun than I realized it would be. It doesn't beat getting together in person. We're going to do that in the future when the social distancing thing ends. A couple things I just wanted for everybody who's watching and tuning in. First, please follow the Hip Politics Podcast on Instagram, Hip Politics Pod on Twitter. We just started a new Twitter. And we also got a Hip Politics TikTok that just started this week that's about to kick off. But our big thing is on YouTube and on all podcast platforms. In addition to that, we just launched a new Hip Politics merch, so you can find that on hippoliticspodcast.com. These happy hour series, we're committed to every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're going to be getting dope collaborations and groups of established people from all over the industry and politics, insiders, social justice, nonprofits, money, financial services, hip hop, music, entertainment, Hollywood, a little bit of everything. Just getting good groups of people together to have cool, honest conversations and connect online. So please tune in, and if you want to join a future conversation, have questions, or even be a featured VIP happy hour guest like the ones we had today, please just hit us up or RSVP at hippoliticshappyhour.com. I want to thank everybody here again. This has been a wonderful experience. Like I said, it was cool for some of you all that I've met in person and some I haven't. I just appreciate the conversation. I appreciate the connection. So out of isolation has come some creation. So with that, this is cheers. This has been another Hip Politics Digital Happy Hour. So with that, I'm gonna close the live. I'm trying to make this cool and cinematic, but it's not doing what I thought it was gonna do.